Hello and welcome to another replay with Hazefest. This is about 1211 MMR. My opponent is running Supply Specialist, and they start with Sledgehammers and Arc Lights. I am playing Fire Badger Specialist, and I start with Sabertooth, Arc Light, and Crawlers. Alrighty, I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to go for this game. I'm just trying to win. Let's see. I can't read the opponent's name. Opponent decides to get Fangs with his opener. What does he do with the Fangs? Nope. He undoes and goes with Crawlers. Okay. Fantastic. Let's speed it up a little bit to start this round. He places his units. I go for a more aggressive approach. Putting my tanks up front, followed by arc lights, and then offset, doing the recommended formation for this selected unit type. I decide to move one of my arc lights at the last minute over to the left side to protect my tower. I place it on the far outside and back a little bit, so that way it doesn't pull too much of the oncoming enemies. And also it can deal with any flank later on. Alright, we're getting up close. Let's back off a little bit so we can actually see what's going on. Left side is going to fall eventually. That one arc light's just not going to be able to hold. On the right side, we crush convincingly. Chaff clear plus Sabertooths. So strong. One shot the tower. Crawler tries to be a hero. Fortunately, it doesn't work out for him. Now this arc light goes to be a hero. Unfortunately, that arc light 2 will fall. Speed up a little bit. We go and get the tower. We turn and blow the arc light to sky high. And we go to finish off this last tank poking at my tower. Round 1 goes to us. Opponent's down to 3,700. Alright, we get selections here. Item drops. So my opponent goes for the firepower control item. I go for the heavy armor, throwing it onto a Sabertooth. He decides to put his improved firepower control on an arc light. He opts for additional sledgehammers and additional chaff. I decide to go undo, and decide to go with crawlers. What else do I do? Do I do anything else? I place my crawlers. What else? I'm thinking about it real hard, apparently. Opponent looks like he's set up and ready to go. He also does a mass recruitment, getting additional unit drops. What was his third unit? It was 2 crawlers and a sledgehammer on the right, I believe. I decide to undo my last set of crawlers, and I'm just going to go with a set of crawlers and a set of fangs. I also mass recruit for another set of crawlers. So 2 crawlers and a fang for me this round. And I level the tower to level 2 on the left side. Check that tower a little bit. Alright, we're going into it. No sideline shenanigans from either player. The chaff getting in front of my Sabertooths are going to keep them nice and healthy. The arc lights are chewing through his chaff wall. Late crawlers come in and distract those sledgehammers for just a little while. All the chaff on the map is gone. It is now arc lights duking it out with sledgehammers and Sabertooth duking it out with my last remaining arc light. And unfortunately for my opponent, sledgehammers just pack too much of a punch. And we win round 2. Round 3, I get my Fire Badgers. We get a unit drop here in round 3 as well. Lots of good options here. Currently, my board has nothing that shoots up, so I'm a little worried about the air problem because there's 2 air options. Opponent has a 50% chance to pick an air unit. Alright. I decided I'm going to go with Phantom Rays. Both of my sledgehammers leveled up that last round, so I'm going to make them level 2. Opponent also goes with air units. He's going to choose the Wasps. He also decides to unlock Scorpion and gets 2 Scorpion onto his side of the map. Fire Badgers I placed to the right because I saw that he had chaff coming in on the right side of my tank, and my tank was almost overwhelmed by the chaff, so I was going to put an arc light there anyway. I realized that the Fire Badger was coming down this turn, so I was like, okay, I'll put the Fire Badgers over there as chaff clear instead of an arc light. So now the opponent has 2 Wasps on the front line. The first thing that comes into our territory. I decided to put my Phantom Rays all the way in the back. I was debating on putting them up front, and then I decided, let's not do that. Let's wait. So I put it on the back line. I also got some Fangs to come in late, and I put Fangs on the other side as well, just in case he did try to flank me with those Wasps. I imagine he was going to flank me with air units here, but he did not. Alright, Fire Badgers are setting things ablaze. Chaff up front is getting annihilated on both sides. My late arriving air units come in to splatter the Wasps. Left side's coming over to join the fight. My Fangs are coming in a bit too late, I would say. Oh, at some point in the last round, I also teched secondary armament for my Sabertooths. Gives them the side guns. That way we can pew-pew in 3 targets instead of just 1. Pretty handy. Looks like these late arriving Phantom Rays are going to be able to deal with my opponent's board. He has nothing that shoots air. All he had that shoots up was Wasps, and they are very dead. My opponent's going after my tower here, but I don't think he's going to make it. We are just a little bit faster. Speed it up. Pew pew. Speed it back down. Opponent goes to 2,800 life. I'm still at full HP. We get some reinforcements here. I'm going to choose the firepower control system. My opponent does the same. I decide to put that onto a Mustang, level 1, to deal with these Wasps. That should blast them pretty quick as they enter combat. My opponent gets levels on a Scorpion, and he gets 3 Marksmen this round. I'm going for a Crawler. Mass recruiting another Crawler. So I got the Mustangs and 2 sets of Crawlers this round. I decided to go for a cheeky flank on the left side, back tower, since there's nothing really guarding it there. And I know if I put it far enough back, all these units are going to go forward, and this will come in and get the tower if he doesn't do anything that I can't see. I throw down a missile because the enemies are going to converge right here in front. Let's see what happens. My opponent techs the Scorpions to do siege mode. And he puts his Marksman on the back line. Looks like we crush through on the front with these Wasps being instantly deleted by these Mustangs. Fire Badgers are still alive, but they're getting wrecked by these Scorpions with range. The tower goes down in the back left because of my flank, which is good timing for us. Try to get some more DPS. My Sabertooth is near death. Triple guns coming out and doing work. Take our opponent down to 1,700. We're still sitting at full HP. Unit drops this round. My opponent goes for the Typhoons. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, he's got Wasps up front. I could go Wraiths. I was looking at those Void Eyes as well. Void Eyes are very strong, but they're only pretty strong when you use them as a carry unit. If you just use them as a support unit, not so much. Okay, so I decided to go for the race. I put one on the right side with my army, and I put one on the left side to go after that tower. Opponent gets 2 Typhoons. And some chaff, I believe, to counter my Crawler flank. The Phantom Rays level up in the bottom, but I think I just missed that. I still have 550 in the bank. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use my money on. Opponent gets another marksman. Opponent unlocks Mustang. I have teched range onto my Arclight. And what else am I doing? I still have not gotten upgrades. My opponent loans and goes anti-air specialization. He also goes acid on the Scorpions. And he also does a mass recruitment, getting another unit somewhere. All right, I put a shield down with my remaining funds. What else did I do with my money? Oh, I put some crawlers on the left over here. They're spawning in now. I put the the Waith on the flank on the right, and it died pretty quick. All right, all the actions here in the center. Crawlers are going at it on the flank on the right, on the left side, far left. My opponent's crawlers win on the flank. These acid Scorpions are tearing me a new one. My air units finally make it onto the back line, but there's not enough of them to matter. And these Wraiths are just too slow against these marksmen. Unfortunately, that's it for this round. All I have is chaff and an Arclight, and that's just not going to be enough to deal with the board. We do get the tower. And my Arclight perishes. Round 6. We get more item drops and spells. Opponent decides to go for Assault Scorpion here. Makes his units fire a little faster. Here I think I decide on going... what do I do? Thought about this for a while. I'm going to go for the Missile Strike. And what do I do with that? I Missile Strike the chaff on the back left to see if I can take out that group of crawlers. He also missiles it, so my side flank is not going to work. I level up my Sabertooth level 3. I get defense armor, HP up for all of my units. I get oil. See if I can slow him down or put him on fire. Nope. I get replicate and impact drill for the crawlers. Because if I can win on these sides, I can eat all his stuff and replicate and have a huge army into his board. Also, some of the crawlers on the back line here are getting in for damage. I get an additional Sabertooth to deal with what? Where do I put that? I put it on the flank on the left. I get additional crawlers. Where do I put these? Opponent gets Mustangs on the back line to deal with my flank. He gets 2 sets of Mustangs. Puts a missile down on the front as well. Or that's my missile. I put crawlers on the back right to distract some of his units for just a moment while I work on these front units. Those few precious seconds help to remove a lot of the chaff from the front of his board. My air units come in right at the end there. Let's see if they help me out. Crawlers win on the left side. They're going to take that tower. It's going to be a good debuff time for us because we still have a few units left. I'm not sure we can win this round. We still have a lot of stuff on the board. All I have is some chaff, an Arclight, and a Wraith. It's not a Wraith. It says it's a Wraith. It's a Sabertooth. Yeah, we lose this round pretty hard. We do take out one more unit before we lose the round, so that's a little bit of damage saved. I just don't have a good answer for these Scorpions. Alright, we get more item and spell drops. So I take the additional deployment slot. Opponent also takes the additional deployment slot. Just kind of threw it all together there. I get more crawlers. I put an additional saber-tooth on the flank. Try to eat that missile and then get in. Unfortunately, with the way my side is, I was hoping that the saber-tooth would take the missile and save the crawlers, but the crawlers aren't warping in. So the crawlers just run right into the missile. So this is very inefficient. Don't recommend. I do a mass recruitment. I get a level 2 saber-tooth, and I throw that on the right side shallow flank to go at these typhoons. These typhoons over here, these are causing problems as well for me, but I don't realize that until later. I put an additional row of crawlers in the back line here in case they chew through my front line. I want a second set of units to try to get in, because if he missiles the first one, I want the second one to be able to do some damage. Because all I got to do is munch on some of these crawlers and then I'll double in size. I decide to mobile beacon the Wraith right into his tower here. Try to get an early tower snipe because I need that tower debuff to chew through his front line to get to these scorpions. Set up another shield and let's go. My flank didn't do too much. The missiles absolutely wrecked me. Right side flanks are chewing through. This level 2 saber-tooth is doing work. This arc light's trying to hold its own against all this trash coming in. Doesn't work. Deep flank is dealt with on both sides. My opponent is now coming after me with a bunch of crawlers and mustangs on the left. I was able to push in quite deep with the air units and the saber-tooth on the right side. So that was pretty helpful. All I have is some level 3 mustangs, and there goes my last air unit. All I have is 2 arc lights and some chaff, and they're not going to be able to deal with these level 3 scorpions. That's unfortunate. Oop, there goes all my chaff. And there goes my arc light. Sad face. Round 8. More unit drops come in. What are we doing here? Opponent decides to take the Farseer ×3, level 1. I decide to go for the Rhino level 2 ×3. And they are gold plated and look fantastic. Oh my god, this skin is so tasty. Like King Midas rolled up in this bitch. Alright. I decide to take those level 2 Rhinos, give them Whirlwind and Armor Enhancement, and I throw all 3 of them onto the left side. Seems good. My opponent puts the Farseers spread out, and he gives them Photon Emission, so his entire board's going to have damage reduction, which sucks for me. I level up the Fire Badgers level 2. I grab 2 more Saber-tooths to go to take on this middle set of Typhoons and Sledgehammers. Try to cushion this left flank a little bit. I grab an additional drop of Arc Light, throw that in the middle. Help chaff clear for these 2 Saber-tooths. Let's see. I mobile beacon my 2 Rhino into his tower with Whirlwind and Armor. And sadly, I forget to resupply range and mobility here. That's too bad. Opponent got additional Mustangs, and he gave them high explosive support. And he goes mobility and range on his tower. I do not this round. There goes the Photon Emission. My 3 Rhino are spawning in on the left side. And if you look over on the left side here, you'll see fantastic things happening. Those 3 Rhino do not give a shit. They go right in. Clearing out the chaff. We get straight to the tower. Boom. Tower goes down with 1 Rhino hit. On the front side, our air units are making it to the back line against these Mustangs. The debuff is coming in handy. We take out a Farseer on the left. We're pushing through on the right. We're clearing the chaff. We got a couple Mustangs left over here, and these Rhino are just coming in. They have no Fs left to give, and they are punching through. These Scorpions do not have the ability to shoot in melee because they went siege mode. It's much like Stormcallers. They have no way to shoot at enemies directly next to them. And these 3 rhinos get it done. Absolutely incredible. They push through and just dominate the entire field. We get spells this round. I decide to go for the acid. My opponent decides to go underground threat. Alrighty. What are we doing here, boys? Opponent gets armor-piercing bullets onto his Mustangs. I throw the acid right across the front line, clipping the scorpions and all of the tanks there. Opponent throws some missiles down to deal with my left side flank. I grab some additional crawlers here because we need the crawlers to intercept a lot of the trash. Opponent puts down 4 missiles and a barrier on the left. No additional units to stop my Rhino advancements. He puts down shields everywhere. Let's see. What is he doing? He got a scorpion on the left side now. He probably should have put the scorpion behind the tower. He's putting a crawler. What is that? Underground threat on his side of the board to block my flank. Let's see. I'm leveling up some chaff units that are actually getting in for damage. I level up my Arclights to level 3. Opponent levels up some Mustang. I finally put Cloak on the Phantom Rays, trying to keep them from getting damaged by those marksmen for a little longer, and I decide to lone and go mobility and range. Alright, here we go. Missiles go off everywhere, photon comes out. I forget to mobile beacon my Rhino, so they're just running around in circles, killing all the trash. Right side, we get some acid down on some tanks, and we're pushing through pretty hard with my Sabertooth. The Rhino on the left, get in, get the tower. And during the debuff, we absolutely annihilate the enemy units. Yeah, we crush them. It's no contest. We absolutely punish our opponent for not dealing with the flank. What'd you guys think about that game? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. If you thought it was a good game, support me with that like and that subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Would you have done anything different? I mean, I probably could have sold some stuff a little earlier and got more efficient units. Like those air units were doing a lot of work towards the end of the game. They actually got into the enemy's backline and were taking out some of the Mustangs and marksmen and stuff that were back there. But yeah, I was very perplexed about what to do against those Scorpion. Because these 2 Scorpion for him, they did 635,000 on one and 300,000 on another. They were just doing absolutely hellacious damage, and I couldn't do much about it. The Typhoons were a little weird. They really didn't do too much for him. My Sabertooth on the right did more damage than this Typhoon because he never leveled it. And I think my highest damage unit was what? Let's get a quick look here. My highest damage unit was this Mustang. 375,000. This one Scorpion nearly doubled that damage. So that Scorpion was his highest damage unit, and this Mustang level 4 was mine, but it was also using an item, and so was the Scorpion. We both had improved firepower control systems. Yeah, I don't know what my opponent should have done in response to these 3 Rhino, but his choice of adding 1 Scorpion over here just did not matter. I mean, Chaff wouldn't work because I have the Whirlwind. He would have needed a Melter. Maybe even 2 Melters to deal with this. Anyway, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day. Catch you in the next one.